Although many games are good at explaining basic controls, it's truly a shame that many games struggle with letting players enjoy their deeper mechanics and quirks, no matter how much effort they took to implement. Sure, fans of a title will eventually discover and revel in a game's little touches and get the most out of enjoying their character, but unless a game explicitly explains how to do something, cooler interactions or character abilities can be lost on a casual player. Properly applying newer and more advanced techniques can increase a game's longevity to an incredible degree, as players find more and more ways to have fun. And one of the most long-standing examples of this is Super Smash Bros. Melee, highlighted in its event match mode. Event matches are essentially gimmick matches within Smash Bros. Asking a player to overcome a challenge, usually with one specific character with parameters different from usual gameplay. These can range from fighting a Pikachu immune to damage except by Pokemon you throw at it, to fighting 128 miniature Marios as they rain from the sky in a hilarious shower of death, to a simulated King Kong vs. Godzilla battle between Donkey Kong and Bowser, complete with super tiny civilians for scale that are destroyed in their wake. While concepts for matches are generally clever, just being thrown into a cute setup isn't enough to make the matches memorable, and indeed sequels to Melee have failed to capture the same magic with event matches. Despite some rather clever concepts, what Melee does to set itself apart is a lot more subtle. It messes with the settings of the game and chooses stages that teach concepts about characters which would normally be ignored. Take, for example, event match number 13, Yoshi's Egg. You're Yoshi, defending a spotted egg from Pikachu, Donkey Kong, and Fox on Rainbow Cruise for 55 seconds. The player has no idea how much damage the egg can take, but they know it's in their best interest to grab the sucker and try to dodge as long as they can. However, Yoshi holds a unique property in that he has some of the worst defensive options in Melee. Yoshi's shield, while sturdy and protective, is limited, and gives him one of the slowest and most predictable dodge rolls in the game. The easy spam roll to avoid damage tactic doesn't work well with Yoshi, especially on a small stage like Rainbow Cruise. It's more than likely that a player will use Yoshi's jumps in order to try to avoid the other animals, and it's here that the game starts becoming a truly great teacher. Rainbow Cruise's starting platform is rather small, but has different levels of elevation, with Yoshi's pursuers all being very horizontally focused in their movesets. Odds are that they'll hit Yoshi, and the player will intuitively understand that Yoshi takes less knockback than most other characters, and cannot be hit out of his second jump. The dino just powers straight through any hit he takes, no matter how meaty. Through simple survival actions, the player can learn effectively what proper spacing is in a real combat environment, and Yoshi's defensive advantages. This is not only an important skill to learn in general, but it's especially important to Yoshi specifically given the flexibility of his egg toss attack, a move that requires great spacing in order to use effectively. The benefits are further improved by the fact that Rainbow Cruise is a moving stage, and after hitting a certain point, Yoshi can access new platforms and leave the other animals with lumbering vertical movement in his dust. Defensive fundamentals, information on 4 characters, and a relatively fun objective, all learned within 55 seconds, and the game doesn't even have to say a thing. Of course, Melee wouldn't be engaging as a fighting game if it didn't teach active fighting elements in addition to movement concepts. Fortunately, Melee makes it easy to apply ideas and techniques in an actual competitive environment instead of just beating on a training dummy. No character benefits more from this philosophy and teaching than Jigglypuff. Starting with Event Match 37, Jigglypuff is placed as the player's opponent in a mad scramble to get Pokeballs containing incredibly powerful legendary Pokemon and Wobbuffet. in racing Jigglypuff toward incredibly desirable and fun items, and trying to avoid her wireframe cohorts all the while, the player learns about Jigglypuff's insane airspeed and control, and how to adapt their game with their character of choice to work around it. Event Match 39, Jigglypuff Live, serves as a way to directly apply what was shown before. It's a Jigglypuff free-for-all, but Melee cleverly reduces the launch resistance on all Jigglypuff participating. This means that all of them get knocked further away more easily, making the low-powered Puffball a more aggressive combatant, and letting the player, well, play with Jigglypuff's pursuit options. A player can chase down a Jigglypuff they've knocked away with their own amazing airspeed, or use it after being knocked away in order to recover for a second chance, making for a perfect highlighting of Jigglypuff's strengths. And of course, there's the infamous Event Match 51 showdown with the fearsome Giga Bowser. Jigglypuff is actually the casual player's combatant of choice, as Giga Bowser makes for excellent practice for Jigglypuff's rest attack, an incredibly high-risk move that requires her center mass to be inside of an opponent completely for any effect at all to occur. Due to Giga Bowser's immense size, the tough Puff can swoop right in and sleep all over him, then can ease into harder targets to nap on like Mewtwo and Ganondorf. Instantly, a player knows Jigglypuff's strongest move, solved like a puzzle and requiring a great deal of skill to pull off. Now, those were just a few examples of the various ways Melee messes with its characters, manipulating various behind-the-scenes values to highlight certain moves and picking just the right stages for each encounter. Melee's event matches are as memorable as they are clever. Not every single concept is necessarily a winner, but all of the best manage to highlight aspects that make Melee such a great game. Every victory that the player earns is another step toward learning the true depth that Melee was intended to provide. Each fight a way to figure out just what works and what doesn't for the player in a guided and focused way. And all of it just feels like witty challenges in a Nintendo fan service shaped package. In my opinion, there are few better ways to show how to design for application.